if most people don't chase their dreams and don't have dreams, most likely other people aren't going to agree with you.
I was genuinely, authentically me, and I found my people. If I wasn't genuinely, authentically me on this podcast, I wouldn't be able to find you guys. You guys wouldn't be able to find me and Alan. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, Hyper Conscious Mastermind. I believe this is week 25. Today we are going to talk about the top 10 most empowering beliefs that we have learned over the last 450 episodes. So at any time, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can either private message Tiffany and or Amy, or you can raise your hand, or you can put it in the public. No matter what, we're here to answer questions and impact and touch you guys one-on-one. That is one of the biggest benefits of this. Number two, if you are new and you haven't done this before, a lot of you guys were at the pre-mastermind mastermind to build relationships. So if you want to continue those relationships, throw your handles, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, in the chat, and you can connect with other like-minded individuals. If you haven't joined HyperConsciousNation yet, we are growing that thing every single week, every single day, and the goal is to have a community of like-minded, empowered individuals, and we would love for you to join. Not bad, huh?
Fire.
Not bad.
Strong work. Also, please interrupt Kevin and myself. I just want to reiterate that. Also, if you do put a question in the chat, Amy or Tiff will actually ask it for you if you don't want to. We very much encourage this to be a conversation, not just us sort of talking and giving a speech. So please don't hesitate. If you have a question, just hammer it, throw it in the chat, or just blurt it out. Okay, so again, I kind of already pre-framed this. So on one side of the whiteboard over there, I've got micro failure for macro success. On the right side of the whiteboard, I have fail by default. So if you do have a pen and paper, I want you to write this down and split the paper in half. On the left side is the success cycle that starts with belief. On the right side is going to be basically being stuck or being jeffed, as we would say. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so imagine there's a circle and each word has a bubble in it. And I am actually going to look over here just for now.
It's like
it's on the
circle.
whiteboard. Okay, so on the bottom left-hand part is belief, okay? Believing that it's possible for you, and then believing that it'll be worth it. If those three beliefs aren't there at the present, you won't even try. So bottom left is belief. The next bubble is try. At least give it a shot. That can be one podcast episode. That can be one TV show interview. That can be one pre-mastermind mastermind. That any idea you can think of, it can be writing a book. It can be anything. Any idea you can think of, it's belief, and then try. Now, when you try something new that you've never done before, inevitably you fail. You mess it all up. We all do. First time we rode a bike, we fell. So now you have belief, you have try, and then you have fail. When you fail, all that means is that you didn't get the result you intended. So if I'm playing golf and I want to get it in the hole, a hole in one, and I get it, 50 feet in front of me, that it means I failed because I didn't get the outcome that I wanted. Okay, but that doesn't mean anything bad. I still got a result. I take that result and I have pain because I have an identity and I want to be good at things. My identity says that I'm good at things. Okay, so belief, try, fail, pain. Okay, next is new awareness. Whenever there is pain, there's now new awareness, because when you fail, you contemplate. What happened there? What was that about? Now, here's the key. You have to be very careful about what conclusion you draw. Okay, but once you have new awareness, now you can make better decisions. And when you make better decisions, now you can get better results. And when you get better results, you get more belief. And this cycle goes up and up and up and up. And so if you listen to the episode that Kevin and I did recently, where we went back to episode 1, which we're going to reference in a minute.
It was brutal.
That's what we've been doing from the very beginning. Every single time we failed on something, but it was a report card giving us that tiny tweak. This isn't new. Okay, so again, belief, try, fail, pain, new awareness, better decisions, better results, more belief. That cycle goes up and up and up. What's the difference between you right now and you in high school? The main difference is that you right now are far more aware. I want everyone to think of a terrible decision they made in high school. Just capture that in your mind for a second. I would be willing to bet you would never do that again. Why? You got failure and pain, and you now know not to make that dumbass choice, pardon my French. Again, high schoolers make dumb decisions. Why? Because they have low awareness. Okay? But here's the key. At least they tried because they believed it was a good idea at the time. All right. Next cycle. No belief. No try. Very elementary.
No try.
No fail. No pain. No new awareness. No better decisions. And therefore no better results, which reinforces the fact that you're not good. Some people are living there. In intimate relationships, I lived there for a long time because I didn't believe someone like Emilia was out there. Tiff, Amy, and Kevin witnessed that shift for me on a team call. Now, all of a sudden, I attracted that into my life. This is why belief is so important. All of your behavior is belief-driven. You coming to this mastermind tonight is because we convinced you and made you believe that this would be a valuable use of your time. Okay? So that's the frame that we're talking about. And now Kevin and I, as you know, are blessed to interview some of the most successful people in the world. We want to take the beliefs that have shifted our life the most and give them all to you here today.
You ready to roll?
Ready to rock.
All right. So number one is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Appropriate for what we were just talking about. Number one, from my perspective, probably the most empowering belief that I have learned in this journey is the belief of failing forward. Okay, we've talked about this in the past. This is our culture. At one point, we literally did what was the word I'm looking for?
Prize?
I can't. Competition.
Yeah, competition.
We did a competition to see who could fail the most in terms of getting rejected for one of our live events, I believe.
Yep.
And Amy won that, and she got, what was it? $100 Target. I always think it's Amazon. But so that is how much that is in our culture. We want to promote failure. But the thing is, you have to have the right mindset. Okay? So way back before we were 300, 200, 100, even 50 episodes into the show, I was doing the show by myself. So it was the HyperConscious podcast with just Jeff one.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan wasn't here. And my buddy at the time asked me, who is your dream interview? And at this point, I had only interviewed my friends. I'd interviewed Alan twice at this point. And I said, Justin Wren. And for those who don't know who Justin Wren is a mixed martial arts fighter. He fights for Bellator. He is a heavyweight, very good fighter. He travels to the Congo and he builds water wells for pygmies, like entire villages. He builds water wells so they can have accessible water. Like that's what he does in his spare time. Okay. I was like, if I could interview him, that would be unreasonable for me. I would be so excited. So the next day, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, energy, a purple elephant on a hill somewhere, whatever, Justin Wren puts up on his Instagram story, I'm accepting 50 podcast interviews this month. Awesome. So I reach out, I get this interview. Okay. Now at the time, I'm still traveling up and down the East Coast, living hotel to hotel. So I have to do this interview in a crusty hotel room on my cell phone after a long day of work. Okay. We get on the phone, absolutely crushed the interview. It went amazing. It was so good for my first time ever doing a remote interview, somebody that I really looked up to. I listened back after and the audio was unlistenable. I could not post this as an episode. It was brutal. So Justin's phone kept cutting in and out. The quality wasn't up to my standards. Now, a lot of that is my fault because I didn't know what I was doing, right? But I failed. I genuinely failed at this interview that I thought was going to propel me to the top of the podcast game, which I've been guilty of several times. So if I just went with that and I said, you know what, this isn't for me. Number one, you guys wouldn't be here because this podcast wouldn't exist. I would be that guy in the bar that walks up to somebody and says, I remember when I was a podcaster. Yeah, I made it 8 episodes and I realized it wasn't for me.
What's the stat?
Most podcasts last between 7 episodes and 21 before they call it quits. And it's understandable. It's hard. It's not easy.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah. And you're doing it by yourself. So, Alan has been a tremendous help. So my question is, have you ever started something and got an unexpected or undesirable result and then quit because of it? Because if you did, that doesn't mean that thing isn't your thing. I've almost quit this podcast more than once, genuinely. But that was in like the first 15, 20 episodes. After that, we haven't looked back. But a lot of that is because of the fail forward. Guys, we're doing double Instagram Live, Facebook Live, Zoom recording into an external audio interface into Audacity. Like something will go wrong on this.
No question.
It's just a matter of what. It is what it is.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Still early. We're only 12 minutes in.
Yeah, right.
So if you can change that, your relationship with failure, you're going to change your results long term. Be nice if I could talk.
Right.
A little more caffeine.
That was fire. I remember when Kevin texted me about the Justin Wren episode, and we didn't know this at the time. And since Dave Meltzer has helped us highlight this, some people are playing an infinite game and some people are playing a finite game. So if you're out there and you want to be a concert pianist, right? And you have a big concert coming up on Sunday. One of them is playing an infinite game with a growth mindset. And no matter how well they do at that concert, it's a report card that's going to make them better because they're going to get feedback on what they're good at and what they're not good at. If it's someone who really has their emotions and their identity tied into how that concert goes, they might quit afterwards and say, concert pianist is not in the cards for me. I'm just not talented. It's growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And that's absolute fire. So one thing I want to say as well, we have a question that we want you to ask yourself at the end of each of these. And Kev, what's the question you want them to ask?
I already said it, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, okay,
I know.
just making sure.
No, I know you did, but
so
reiterate.
What is something that you have failed at that you use that as an excuse not to try it again? Because just because you failed the first time or the second time or the third time doesn't mean that thing isn't your thing. Think about riding a bike. How many times did you fall off the bike? For those of you who know how to ride a bike today, you decided that you weren't happy with that. So you kept going, and now you know.
Fire. Okay, so number 2 belief to embody is that everything is figureoutable. Marie Forleo has a book called Everything is Figureoutable, and Marie is amazing, but that's the greatest title ever. Yeah, she must have got it from us. She must have got it from this mastermind. So recently, it was last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, we were talking to Evan Carmichael. He's a new coach of ours. He coaches us bi-weekly. So he's coaching us live on his Instagram, okay? And I go into it thinking that it's going to be a lot like a Dave coaching session, which is like, okay, this is live. Let's ask him questions that will extrapolate value. So the first question I went in was, what's the most misunderstood part of YouTube? And he could kind of, he's like, dude, is this an interview or is this a coaching session? And I'm like, it's a coaching session. He's like, just ask me what you want to know. I said, okay, I want to get better at YouTube. He literally pulled up our YouTube on his Instagram live and told us that the name needs to change, that our YouTube is terrible, that our intro needs to change, that our mid-tro is changing. He just hammered us. Anyone who was at Top Notch Live also witnessed Evan open the laptop with us at dinner and go through our analytics. You're well within. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're well within live in Florida, and basically say like all these things. So he's the YouTube expert. So everything is figureoutable. Kevin and I freaked out a little bit, especially me, in that moment of like, we don't want to change the name. Like, we don't want to rebrand. Like, we love HyperConscious, right? But now that the dust has settled and we believed that everything is figureoutable, we now have decided to start rebranding. Now, one of the names we're looking at is Next Level University. Because if you don't know what hyperconscious means, you might not at least click and give it a shot. Whereas Next Level University is the type of brand where it might be like, okay, how do you get to the next level of my life? If you're struggling and you feel stuck, that's something you might click on. And so now Tiff is working on a new logo and all this kind of stuff. But if we didn't believe that everything was figureoutable, there's no chance that we would have been able to take that feedback of how bad he thinks our YouTube channel is.
Yeah.
But that's how you get better. Everything is figureoutable. We can come up with a better name, with a better brand. You can improve. It's not a finite game. And so my question for you is, what is something right now where you are clinging on tightly to a past self instead of going into a future self with the assumption that you can figure out how to get there? If you were there when Anthony Trucks came and did Identity Shift, he says you want this result, but you don't want to be the person who actually attains this result. So the question is simple. Again, what's something right now where you're clinging on to a past self rather than driving into a future self, knowing that everything is figureoutable?
I would say if we could stack a belief on top of that belief, there are people out there, and I have one kind of like this, but there are people out there that genuinely want to see you win. Like, Evan Carmichael came to an event in Florida with us, spent the entire day, talking to people, gave an hour and a half keynote, I think. And then he literally came to dinner with us and went through our YouTube analytics for like an hour and a half. And then he stayed up and helped Eddie Pinero do the same thing.
Right.
Some people want to see you win. We want to see you win. Genuinely, like if you reach out to Alan or myself, we will get back to you, right? Like we want to see you win. We care about you guys. If you're a client of mine and you don't listen to what I say, I physically get offended because I care about your success that much. More than the money, more than anything else, I care about your success. So that's something I wanted to add to that. Okay. Number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Anything is possible. Now, I'm sure you've seen Nike commercials. I'm sure you've seen, books that say this, but we've been talking a lot about episode 1. We went back and watched episode 1. I get a lot of good feedback about, wow, Kevin, you were kind of like a bro back then. You've changed so much over the last 3.5 years, 450 episodes. If you were to watch episode 1 and say, where do you think Kevin or yourself could be in 3.5 years? I don't think you could possibly guess. I could never guess that I would be doing a live Zoom presentation with you guys for the 25th week. We just recorded 3 episodes earlier, right? So we're at 450 something. The amazing guests we've had, the clients, the trips to LA, to Arizona, to Florida. I never, ever, ever, Evan Carmichael, David Meltzer, I could never guess that. And I never would have gotten to the place I am if I didn't believe at some level that anything was possible for me. Okay. And a lot of that is because of Alan. Alan's been in my corner, right? But just because it hasn't happened yet to you, just because you're not doing it yet, just because you don't have the results you want, does not mean it's not possible. It probably means it's not possible yet. It just isn't here yet. We want to be on the stage with Brendan Burchard. We want to have our own Brendan Burchard-like events. Is that possible? Absolutely. That will happen eventually. But just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not going to happen eventually. So for you, do you really believe in your own ability to manifest, to create, to build the future of your dreams? Like, do you really believe it's possible? If you don't, that's step 1. It's not that simple, I understand. But if you don't believe it's going to happen, it never will. This stuff doesn't happen by accident. Alan and I have had to pull ourselves out of bed. We've had to get out of bad relationships. We've had to do so much in order to get where we are today that it couldn't happen by accident. It couldn't.
The only thing I'll add, that was fire, man.
I appreciate
strong work.
Appreciate
the only thing I'll add to the anything is possible, it's interesting because when you have that belief, it's very hard for you to settle. I asked Kevin this one time on the show. I basically said, you know how when you're in a court case and you settle, it's like there's like a settlement. It's because you settle for less than what you believe you could have gotten in the civil court case, right? Like if you got injured in a factory or whatever and you were fighting for $100,000 and you settled at 20, it means you settled for less. Probably because you didn't believe there was new awareness. You didn't believe you could get 100. How many people are doing that in relationships? How many people are doing that in friendships? How many people are doing that in their careers? It's ridiculous how many people are settling. And here's my point. Because I believed that all of this was possible and I never doubted it, I shouldn't say never, but I rarely doubted it, I was willing not to settle for certain things in my life. I remember asking myself a simple question of, is my current girlfriend ever going to admire me and respect me as much as Bianca does and as much as Amy does? And when that answer was no, I knew I had to leave that relationship. And this is nothing against her, okay? Maybe I'm not what she values. It is what it is. But ask yourself those tough questions and realize that, like, your dream man or woman is out there. Pretending they're not is going to keep you settling for less, period. And so that belief is critical. Number 4. Sure. I'm going to hammer number 4. Number 4 is very congruent with number 3, which is osmosis, getting around the right people. So if you do have big dreams, which I'm assuming you do, that's why you're here on a Monday night when so many people could be but aren't, okay, is getting around the right people. So one thing that I have trouble explaining the importance of this one. I remember I was listening to The Compound Effect, and I was in my car. I was heading to Millbury. I think I was going to go to Target and get some new clothes. And I remember he was talking about influences, and he was saying disassociations, expanded associations, and limited associations. In other words, who you spend time with is the most important thing. And I remember I had this resistance. I was like, I know Darren knows, but this sucks. Because I used to spend a lot of time with some really, they're good people, they're good humans, but they're not very successful, and they're certainly not striving for much, if I'm honest. And you know how when you're deep into a journey, you look back and you know what made the difference because hindsight's 2020. This is the biggest one. If you don't get around growth-minded people, you will lose. You will not achieve your dreams, in my honest opinion. And it's just the truth. So we're very, very fortunate at this point to be coached by Evan Carmichael, David Meltzer. This isn't about us. The point is that we have clients in here. We're being coached. Our clients are being elevated by Dave and Evan. Dave and Kevin.
I like that. You can
also
say that.
Kevin.
You can say that.
But like, it's a vortex of influence that never ends. But I promise you, if I could go back and talk to me 4 years ago, I would say, Alan, you gotta get around people who have aspiration. You have to get away from the people who don't. They're not bad. You're not good. No high horse nonsense, but like they are different because you want something different. Okay. And so your environment is creating who you are today. All the persons, places, things, and ideas that are around you are influencing you every single day. And if you want to change yourself, what you're going to have to do to achieve your dreams, you have to also change your environment. And so my question for you is simple. Who are you spending time with that you know when I say it, just like when Darren said it in the compound effect, where you know it's like, I really do have to cut that person out. Maybe cut that person out. It's too hardcore. Maybe it's just spend less time. We say this every time, guys. You've heard this a million times. It's the most important one. That's why we say it all the time. That's why everyone in this industry says it. You really do have to step out of the old associations if you want to step into the new ones. And you're already doing that when it comes to new ones because everyone in this mastermind is obviously growth-minded.
To stack on that, great work.
Thank you, man.
Dr. Nikki Starr, we interviewed her a couple times. We went to her house in Malibu, which was amazing. It was incredible. I thought we were going to get eaten by sharks. I didn't like that as much. But she said filters and magnets. You have people in your life that you're going to filter out. You're going to magnetize in. The problem is if you're not being your true authentic self, you're not going to filter the right people out. You're not going to magnetize the right people in. Okay, so that's something that has changed the game for us. Some people have been filtered out, and sometimes it sucks and it's sad. But I also don't think I would be where I am if I allowed those people. If somebody's an anchor in your life, it's up to you to decide whether or not you're okay with that. And I'll just leave it there.
One more quick thing.
Sure.
So we know that we're a part of nature, right? If you were to plant a tree, okay, and you were to put it in toxic soil, never water it, never give it sun, never give it rain, you know that it would die. But yet humans were like, yeah, no, I can be around all this toxic stuff. I can be around alcohol. I can be the exception, right? You're not the exception. Neither am I. If you're in a toxic environment, you're going to get toxic results in your life. And so just like a tree, plant yourself where there's good soil, where there's good sunshine, where there's good rain, where there's good nutrients in the soil. That's the person's, places, things, and ideas. And obviously you're already doing that by being here, but I just wish I could tell myself, like, Alan, you gotta do this. You gotta do this thing. It's hard, but it takes courage. But anyways,
here we go.
Next.
Number 5. I think this is maybe more important now than it ever has been in the history of the world, and it's always been important. I don't think a lot of people realize this. There are a lot of really incredible people out there in the world. We don't really see them highlighted very often because if it bleeds, it leads when it comes to news. I don't watch news. Alan, I don't think you watch the news. But there's a lot of really incredible people. And we've gotten the opportunity to speak to them. But the thing is, we get to see people before the interview and after the interview. We also get to like hang out with these people and see what they're actually really like. Anthony Trucks literally was in our hotel room. Then we went to In-N-Out Burger and he was working on his presentation in the drive-thru. He then found a pair of Alan's underwear in the backseat and said, "Are these your drawers?" And Alan said, "Yes, those are my drawers."
We're sorry.
Anthony is like the most humble. He was signing autographs when we were walking through the hotel. Such a down-to-earth guy. Just a great guy. Dave Meltzer, such a nice person. We've met him in person multiple times. We get to talk to him behind the scenes. He's a great guy. Brant Pinvidic, a great guy. Like I texted him yesterday. There's a lot of people out there that are just really good human beings. And I think that we see so much negativity that we assume that's the way it is. And that's not. So you're going to get what you seek. If you're looking for negativity, this would be a great test. Go on social media and decide whether you want to see positivity or negativity. I guarantee you find what you're looking for. Guaranteed. Because I find myself doing that. I'll see some video and I'll say, oh God, that made me feel some type of way. But I'll just keep scrolling and it's just that after that after that. Right? But if you're looking for positivity, you'll find it. So my question to you is, what are you looking for? Are you looking for the negativity, or are you looking for the positivity? Are you looking to make that positive impact? Are you looking for the good in people? Or are you remembering the times that you were wronged? We've all been wronged. And we did an episode on this recently. You're going to get what you tolerate. If you tolerate negativity, if you're looking for it, if you're seeking it, then you're going to attract it into your life. But if you're seeking positivity, you're going to attract it, right? That's what this is. You guys are in this because it's positive. There's no negativity here. We don't allow that. There's no space for that here. But you're going to find more positivity here because you're looking for it.
So the only thing I'll add to that one, number 5, is when you're driving down the highway and you're stuck in traffic suddenly and you look at the time and it's like, okay, it's not rush hour. Like, something's going on here. There must be an accident, right? Our brains are wired, and you've heard this before, to look for what's wrong and what could hurt you. Okay. So, when someone gets in a car accident and everyone turns to look, it's our wiring. It's our survival bias of our brain, our 200,000-year-old brain. But when there's a beautiful sunset that's absolutely breathtaking, the traffic's just rolling by 70 miles an hour. Most people are more focused on their fears than their desires. And I'm not saying that to hate on anybody. It's just kind of how we're wired. So I get it. I'm being empathetic. Try to understand what your fears are, because they're controlling your focus. And what you focus on, you're going to get more of. The reason Emilia and I and Taryn and Kevin do the gratitudes every night is because we want to train our minds to focus for the good stuff. I could have the best relationship in the history of the world, and if I'm looking for what's bad, there's going to be things I'll find. But that's not fair to Emilia. And that's not fair if she's doing that to me. So whatever you're looking for, you're going to find. And just understand that we have to rewire the natural tendency. There's a reason the news does all danger stuff. It's because it gets our attention. Right?
Can I add to that?
Please.
We've talked about this on an episode as well. And we're going to have a lot of breakthroughs in this because we're going all over the place. And some of these things we don't talk about that often. Focus more on the solution than the problem. That is an absolute game changer for me. Okay. And I definitely have a couple clients in here, but one of my clients I talk to is something I always say is like, I love the fact that you're focused on saving money, but what if you focused half as much on making more money? You wouldn't have to worry about saving money as much. Now, I love the fact that you're saving money, but don't use that as a current consistent scarcity when you can switch to abundance and focus on making more money. So if you have a hole in the boat, you can stare at the hole all day. But until you try to think of a solution to plug that hole, you're going to keep sinking. So that's another takeaway I would leave.
By the way, if you don't have desires, you're going to default to fear. That's a big thing. And we're going to talk about that in one of these other beliefs. But think about what Kevin just said. One person is trying not to go broke. The other person is trying to hit a financial goal. Okay, one of them is going to focus on more money, more abundance. The other one's going to focus on holding on to what they have. Okay, those are two different lives. And so setting big goals, again, we'll talk about that, but that's a good point. Good point.
All right, right on.
All right, number 6, is that me?
Can I challenge you?
Yeah, please.
Look at the camera.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I'm looking over there.
So this is going to be a fail forward. So we have the laptop set up here. So if you catch us looking to the right, we're actually looking at you guys, not the camera. But I'm challenging Alan.
Thank you. Thank you. It's hard because I want to look at I want to look at the people.
It's very difficult.
Okay. God, challenging Alan in real time. Okay. Number 6, not trying is the only real failure. I think it was J.K. Rowling who said this in her Harvard commencement. She talks about basically, I'm having trouble doing it.
It's tough.
It is tough. I'm having trouble doing it.
Okay. You can do it if you got it. You can do your thing.
Appreciate you. I'm gonna work on it. Thank you for the feedback, though. Appreciate you. So she says this. She basically says, I think she went to 12 publishers before she was able to publish Harry Potter. And she said, you may never fail on the scale that I did, because she was broke and basically homeless in London with a typewriter and a big idea. And she talks about this. Her Harvard commencement is absolute fire. And now she's the most successful author in the history of the world. And so she said that you may never fail on the scale that I did, but some failure in life is inevitable unless you live life so cautiously that you never try and never fail at all, in which case you fail by default. To me, not trying is a bigger failure than someone who tried and failed. My fitness shows, getting embarrassed on stage was good for my character because it humbled me, and at least I tried. So yeah, maybe I remember I got laughed at by the judges because you're supposed to breathe out to see your abs, and I was kind of hissing, sounded like a snake. And I remember the judges laughing at me. It was a really hard moment for me, honestly. And I remember thinking to myself after that, at least I got on stage though, you know? And so the other thing that I want to tell you quickly, I'm in college and I'm at a fraternity party, Zeta Psi, WPI. And it's a big party. They have their dance floor in the basement, and I'm with my buddy Manu. And I see this girl, okay? And she's literally rejecting guy after guy after guy. They're all coming to ask her to dance because she's gorgeous. And I remember saying, Manu, I would really love to dance with her. And he's like, you should. She'll say yes. And I said, no, man, she's saying no to everybody. Like, look, she said she just rejected, I think it was like 7 or 8 guys, legitimately. And he's like, I bet you the $2 bill that she doesn't say no. The $2 bill in college was me and my friends, whoever had it. It was like this thing, this ego thing where it's like whoever had the $2 bill is like awesome, right? Quote unquote. It was a little different back then. And so he bet me the $2 bill she'd say yes. I asked her. We danced all night. We went on dates. That was a 5-year relationship. Courtney is a sweetheart. She changed my life and I changed hers. Okay? If I hadn't asked her, if Manu hadn't bet me, that's the truth. If Manu hadn't bet me to go ask her, I would not have had that 5-year relationship. And who knows? Kevin and I remember you seeing me in my relationship at Mark's party, and you were like, I want that one day. So that actually brought this together. Like, think about it. So the takeaway here is one try, one attempt. Amy at the mall. What if she said no to that? Would she have been here in the pre-master mastermind? See, we don't understand the implications of one courageous moment. We don't. And I didn't back then either. How many times has almost held you back? How many times have you been like, I really want to do that, but not? How many times have you unsent the message like I did with Emilia's DMs when you should have just sent it and seen what happens? And so that's the question I would ask you.
And it's like that with anything. One conversation, one book, one podcast, one interview. Alan and I were talking about this earlier. I said, yeah, I feel like I should have known better at some point that maybe HyperConscious wasn't the right name. He said, yeah, but I don't know if I would have come on if it wasn't. Would we be working together? I don't know.
I love the name.
Right? I still do love it, but I think in order to maximize our impact, I think we gotta change it, which hurts me, and I will cry about it later, but I'm not going to cry about it now. All right, number 7. This one, I think this is a little bit of like a change up. This is the wild card. Your energy is impactful. So you guys listen to the show. You know I introduce every single episode the same exact way. I try to bring a 12 out of 10 energy. Something happens when somebody sees that. So we had Dean Graziosi on. I screwed up his intro, but I did it with energy. So when I say, ladies and gentlemen, I see the guest. I see their eyes open up. Not many people do that. Right? Alan and I have been on a lot of shows, and they literally say, I'm going to do the intro later. Like, no, I don't want to do the intro later. I want to do it now. I want to do it in front of the guest. I want to show them that I love this, that this is my jam, that I've practiced this, that I'm an expert at this, right? Same with Evan Carmichael recently. He literally stopped the interview and said, Alan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much energy was that? And Alan BS'd me and gave me an 8. But Evan said he literally felt like he was walking out of the tunnel for a fight, like a boxing match.
He was like bouncing up and down.
Yeah. So imagine if I jumped on here, guys, and said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week number 25 of the HyperConscious Master. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You guys are going to know I'm just showing up. I'm just here to check the box, right? Your energy is impactful. Okay. People can recognize it. People can feel it. They can tell when you're real. I've gotten so many compliments on my energy. Like, what a great thing to be complimented on, because people know I'm doing it for the right reason, because I'm doing it, through my heart. So that my question to you is, how are you showing up? Are you showing up to check the box? And this is in anything in life. Are you showing up to check the box? Are you doing your 30 minutes of reading, but skipping pages? Are you actually listening to the audiobook? Are you listening to the podcast? Are you actually working out? Or are you just showing up to the gym? There's this young lady that goes to the gym I go to. Okay. I don't even see her work out. She literally takes pictures the whole time. And when I say the whole time, I am not kidding. Like, on every machine, she's just taking pictures. Again, if that's what you want to do, sure. But if you show up with the proper energy, you're actually going to get the results you want. So that crosses over.
The only thing I'll add is intentional energy is more powerful than unintentional energy. So before I walk into a room, I try to do this. I always try to set an intention. Before we do an episode, Kevin and I say, what's your intention?
Yep.
When you have an intention and then you pay attention, and we'll get into that, it's going to be more impactful. So your energy is think about it this way. I don't care about cars. Not even a little bit. Like, I just don't. I was with Emily recently. Shout out to you, Emily. And we were out to lunch with my mom and sister. And my mom was super excited about her new Miata. Okay. And Emily came to get her behavioral analyst book back. And we were in the parking lot. And I was like, Emily, do you want to go see my mom's Miata? She's so excited. And she's like, honestly, I don't really care about cars. I'm like, all right, me neither. It's over there. And we just pointed at it. Now, we care that my mom cares. And we want to be enthusiastic for my mom. But the moment we left the room, we don't care. We just don't. Now, if you were talking about something you care about, like if we talked about behavior, I have no doubt Emily would light up like a Christmas tree and she'd be enthusiastic. If you're talking about things that don't matter to you, to people who don't care, you are Jeffin. You got to get around and surround your environment with things that you really are passionate about, because that's why we're talking about how to have a next level life. That's why we're talking about hyperconsciousness, because we care so deeply about it. If you talk to me about the weather, I guarantee you I'm going to say, yeah, like, no, it's pretty good. Like, yeah, word. Like, I don't care. I can't pretend to care. Okay. So where are you? And again, this isn't mine, this is Kevin's, but where are you talking about things that you're not passionate about and then expecting to invest heavily?
And how can you talk more about the stuff that you love? Like, that's a great question. Where are you actually getting the fulfillment of talking about, of experiencing, of putting out that energy that you want to put out? We get to contribute so much at such a high level because we're in front of this camera all the time, right? We're always doing this. So this is the energy I want to put out. And that's why I get that energy in return. When people reach out, we have notes up on the wall over there from, either listeners or people that we've had on, right? Like, that's because of the energy. And you, at the end of the day, you're in control of your energy. It's not always that easy, but if you wake up and show up the way that you want to show up, things will happen.
Dave has this quick story, and then we'll move to number 8. He says that he went into a room one time and no one turned and no one paid attention to him. And he said, okay, wait, I'm in bad energy. He went back down the driveway. He set some intentions. I think he meditated briefly or something. And then he said, I'm going to bring the intention and I'm going to bring the energy. And just his energetic state, everyone turned when he got back in the room. Practice it. It's a thing. It's a real thing. When I come in here in a resourceful state, Kevin can tell. When I come in an unresourceful state, Kevin can also tell, and vice versa. So that's affecting your environment all the time. Okay, number 8.
Number 8.
Is that me?
That is you.
It's me. Okay, and I'm still looking over there. We're failing forward. I got to learn how to look over here. All right. Number 8, doing something remarkable always gets remarked upon. All right, so I've talked about this a lot, and I think it's fascinating how we expect to do something that's amazing, but yet we don't want anyone to make fun of us. We don't want anyone to be a bully. And here's the thing, bullies bully people. And so how can you intend on doing something remarkable, something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary, and then not have people remark? Right? And so I remember this one thing Wayne Dyer used to say. He used to say that if you win a presidential election and you get 54% of the votes, you win by a landslide. And if you're listening right now, you've heard me say this before on the podcast, but I, if I'm honest, have gotten a lot of criticism for when I went all in on my dreams. It's like, you're going to be a bodybuilder, you're going to be a podcaster, like that's not even a thing. How do you make money podcasting? Like, you're going to be a speaker, like your biceps are too big, like all that nonsense, right? Seriously, I used to, for 2 full years, I had a real hard time. Because some of my friends were very mean. I even had one of them reach out and apologize recently and say, I was a real dick. And I'm sorry, like, don't read too into this, but I was a real dick and I didn't believe in your dreams. And honestly, him and several others didn't either. And now nobody questions whether or not I'm a podcaster. Nobody questions whether or not I'm a fitness model. Nobody questions whether or not I'm a bodybuilder. But I had to sit in that pain the whole time of people that I thought loved me. It's nothing against them, okay? That's just their beliefs. If you are doing something remarkable, mark my words, people will hate on it. They will remark upon it. Every hero you have has been criticized time and time again. Because when you're trying to instill change and you ruffle feathers of people that are stuck and don't believe in themselves, it is what it is. It's nothing against them. It's going to happen. Don't let it hold you back. So my question for you, What have you not tried? Honestly, be really real with yourself on this one. What have you not tried because you're afraid of what other people think? That is a big one. What have you not posted because you're afraid of what other people think? I've done this with clients. I said, okay, why aren't you posting there? I said, okay, how much you want to bet? I asked this question. Where do you feel suppressed? Where do you feel like you can't be your authentic self? Give me a person who judges you, who you feel judged by, okay? What I found out is that who they feel judged by is actually following them on certain platforms. Here's a good example. How many of you don't want to post on Facebook, but do want to post on Instagram? That's a thing. Why? Because your judgmental relatives are on Facebook. I see this all the time. Notice how I post everything on both? I'm exposure therapying myself. I was doing this way back. I literally, and honestly, some of those are, not good posts, right? Like, let's be real.
I've seen some things.
Yeah, I've seen some things. But if you are posting on Instagram and not Facebook, it is because you are scared of what your relatives will think. You can sit there and tell yourself a story that you don't care what they think, but that's Jeff in you. You do care what they think. Admit it and face the fear.
Jeffin. I love the fact that we can use Jeffin as a verb.
It's nice, right?
Yeah. We're going to carry that over to the next one. Okay.
One of my mentors doesn't like that.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. Number 9. And this whole mastermind, this whole podcast, every event you've ever been to, your people are out there. Your people are out there, okay? They're out there somewhere. Maybe you haven't found them yet, but we'll go into why that might be. So this was probably, I was still in New Hampshire at this time. This was probably like 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe. My buddy Andrew said, hey, man, I got some friends. There's 4 girls. We're going to go hang out with them. We'll go bowling, maybe drink a little bit, hang out, just chill. They're really cool. They're really awesome. Like just sweethearts, not really expecting anything, just looking for a good time. Okay, cool. So we go down there. We have a couple beers, whatever. We go bowling, great time. They're amazing young ladies, all of them. We get back to their house and I just went off and started talking about hyperconscious stuff. I literally did like a live, this was my first speech, basically. Okay. And we stayed up until like 3 a.m, like literally. And I don't know whether or not it changed the outcome or the trajectory of their lives. I have no idea. But I do know that they know me at a far deeper level than somebody who just meets me because they actually saw what I like to talk about. Okay. Like that was a game-changing thing for me because I realized the impact I could have in person with people when I actually talked authentically. So the problem is you're not going to find those people unless you actually show who you are. Okay. So this is my question for you. When you're in this group, you're hyper-conscious. Okay. You're listening to this. You're talking about it in the pre-mastermind mastermind. You're talking about different ideas. You're willing to ask questions. When this room closes and you go back to real life, are you still the same person? Do you still talk about habits? Do you still talk about making sure you're being productive or progressing towards your dreams? Do you still say like, you know what? I can't do that this weekend because I have a meeting with a client or a potential client. Like, are you the same person in the rest of your life as you are when you're here? Because if you're not, then it's going to be a lot harder for you to find your people. Okay. I've met several people in this room at a Brendan Burchard event. And I was me. Like I was crying with people. I was causing people to cry with my story. I was genuinely, authentically me. And I found my people. If I wasn't genuinely, authentically me on this podcast, I wouldn't be able to find you guys. You guys wouldn't be able to find me and Alan. Okay. So at the end of the day, like the way you show up in here, the best version of yourself, eager to learn, eager to try, eager to ask. If you can carry that everywhere else into life, think about how much of a difference that's going to make for you.
So we've all seen that couple, or have you ever had a friend who is very different around you than they are around their intimate partner? And then you kind of know in the back of your mind, it's like, wow, that's a drastic difference. Now, a little difference is fine, but when it's a drastic difference, in my head, it's like, I don't know if that's sustainable. Are you able to be authentic? Are you being inauthentic with me, or are you being inauthentic with them? Now, we are all different around everybody. Let's be real. We're all adaptable. We're all human beings. We're all chameleons to some extent. But how drastic is the difference? And so the other morning when I wake up, turn over, give you immediately a kiss, and then we're talking about these belief cycles. I've been in relationships where that wasn't a thing, where I was super passionate, like, oh my God, babe, I want to show you this. imagine if you could do this all the time. Like I often say I have the best coach in the world. Emilia asks me questions, deep questions, every day. Every time I see her. Our pillow talks change lives. And it's like unreal. She asks me questions that are like so difficult for me to answer, and they shake my snow globe. And after a long day, sometimes that's tough. But she's so growth oriented. She's so curious. I get to be me. I get to talk about big dreams, and she doesn't get insecure because she has just as big a dreams, if not bigger, right? So how authentic can you be? And trust me, your people are out there. Maybe you've just been suppressing yourself. And one thing I'll say too, you're not going to find Kevin or I at the bar anymore. It was interesting to hear that story about the Bumble Crew because you don't bowl or drink anymore necessarily. I mean, maybe you bowl.
Look,
but
I put away my fishing gear. I put away my ice skates. I put away my bowling ball. It's just this, man.
It's just this. But here's the thing, right? So you're not going to see us at the bar anymore. And if you do, it'll be it'll be like a random thing. So figure out your people. Where do they hang out? You will find me at the library, right? Like you will find us at a networking event.
Relationship building.
Oh, relationship building.
How dare you.
Relationship building event. Strategic.
Of course.
But that's the thing. Where are your people? Maybe you're in the wrong rooms. For me, when drinking was the center of attention, that was most of why people got together. And when that shifted and I don't drink anymore, there's a lot of those relationships that were built on that fun thing that went away. And so that's the question for that one. All right. Closed-minded bullies is the next one. This is number 10. So for me, number 8 and number 10 are very similar. And if you're out there listening, you can tell that this has caused me probably a lot of pain, but I want to talk about it because I don't know if everyone's fully aware of how much this is holding them back, because hindsight's 20/20. If I could go back and talk to my older self, I would say, like, Alan, you need to let go of the need to please them. No matter what, they're not going to agree with you. So stop trying. Stop trying to bring everybody with you. Like, just go do your thing and trust that love will be there. Okay. Closed-minded bullies. Okay. So I've said this before, but I want you to really think about this for a sec. If most people don't chase their dreams and don't have dreams, most likely other people aren't going to agree with you when you say you want to quit your full-time job making 6 figures like Kevin did and start a podcast. Most people are going to be like, what are you, nuts?
Oh, yeah.
Because statistically, they'd probably be right. Statistically, that's a bad move. But if you want to be fulfilled and you want to grow and contribute and you want to chase your dreams, that's actually the best idea ever. Okay. So when he came to me and said, I want to start a podcast, I said, dude, that's awesome. You can do it. You're going to crush it. When he went to other people, they're like, what are you, nuts? You're going to give up $100 an hour? Like, are you crazy? What if he didn't do that? So here's my point. I have very specific people who I consider arrogant and closed-minded.
We have their names on the board, but you can't see them.
But you can't see them. I used to genuinely gauge how much I was going to be successful based on how much they disagreed with what I was doing. Okay? If someone's super, super closed-minded, and arrogant means they believe their way is the only way, okay, in this definition, if they shit on me, pardon my French, and they bully me, which is what bullies do, that means I'm doing something right. Because they believe that the other way is supposed to be the way I go. And so who is bullying you when you talk about your dreams? And by the way, this is predicated on you actually putting your dreams out there. You won't get bullied if you just keep it all inside, right? I intend to be a millionaire. Watch me do it. It's an intention. It's not a question. I intend on it. Okay, I've been saying that for years. I said I'd be a millionaire by 30. I had someone text me and say, hey, I know you aren't. I'm sorry to hear that. And this person, I don't know if he was doing that because he actually wanted to be empathetic or if he was doing that because he wanted to say kind of, you didn't do it. That's too bad. Who cares? I put my dreams out into the world. I'm not afraid to say that I intend to be a millionaire because eventually I know that will happen. I'm on my way. If you don't have the courage to tell your dreams to the world, how are you going to have the courage to do what it takes? And if people hate on your dreams, that's a good thing because that means you're doing something extraordinary.
I have a bonus one just right off the top of my head.
I like it.
You don't have to choose between success and love. You don't have to choose between success and being miserable every single day of your life. So that's something that Alan and I really not only want to take in our lives, but we always talk to clients about that. Like I literally with my clients say bubble bath every night. You should be taking a bubble bath every night. Does that fill your cup? Do it every night. Take your dog for a walk. Go get coffee. Whatever it is for you. We're talking about lifestyle design.
Turbo shot.
Turbo shot. You want a turtle shot? Have a turtle shot. We're talking about lifestyle design, right? Like I don't want to go on vacation. I like my life. I love my life. I don't like it. I love it. I get to do this every day. Every time before we get on these microphones in front of you guys, every single week, Alan and I say like, wow, what a life, man. Right? Like I've been in the studio since 10 a.m. But like, I love this. I love this. This is what I designed. This is what I picked, right? I'm so passionate about this. Does it suck? Sure. Some days it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Some days it's really hard, right? I've been broke. I've been miserable. I've been depressed. I've been a lot of things, but I've also never been nearly as fulfilled as I am. Okay. If you can find a way to balance, and I know people in this space don't necessarily like that word, but if you can balance achievement and desire with fulfillment, okay? Imagine if every single day you found a way to get a little bit of fulfillment. You're emptying your cup all day. You're hammering it. You're doing your habits. You're doing your workouts. You're doing your client calls. You're doing whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you find a way to fill that cup back up so you can do it again tomorrow. Rinse and repeat. That is lifestyle design. The people who say, oh, I can't believe it's not Friday yet. That's a tough life because you're waiting for the weekends. But what if you could make a little bit of that weekend for yourself every single night? That's lifestyle design, and you can do that. You can do that. We are proof of that. Our clients do that. Is it always going to be like that? No, you're going to have seasons where it's grind time. You're broke and you have to get clients. Like, okay, Kev, you don't get to play Call of Duty tonight. Like, too damn bad, right? But there's also nights where I can watch 6 hours of UFC.
Oh, yeah.
Like I did Saturday.
Fire. Last piece before we go to the bonus. The bonus
Second
in
bonus.
this case, second bonus is who out there is hating on you? Who out there, when you tell them your dreams, is like taking wind out of your sails? Now, there's a difference between constructive feedback of trying to help you get to your dreams, and you'll feel the difference.
Oh, yeah.
And then someone be like kind of shitting on you. There's a difference.
Swears.
I know.
I swears today.
Feel the difference. I'm passionate about this because
dude,
too many people don't chase their dreams. Here's the last piece. You literally are valuing their opinion over your own. If you believe you can do something and I tell you you can't, and you believe me over you, you are valuing my opinion over you. I would never say that because I'm not like that. But dream killers are out there. Do not listen to them. They are closed-minded. They are arrogant. They think they're right about everything, and they're not. They don't know anything. If people know things and they are really hyper-conscious, they're not going to take the wind out of your sails. Look at their results. Look at their relationships. Look at their success, right? Look at that. Look at their behavior. Look at their habits. I have one friend tries to teach me about fitness because his brother's a personal trainer. Oh my God. You've never been to a gym in your life, okay? Just don't listen. Don't listen to the dream killers. Value your own opinion and your own heart over everybody else. You're never going to regret that.
You got the bonus.
Okay, so the bonus, the bonus. Second bonus. Yeah, good point. Thank you. So the bonus is actually a David Meltzer shout out. So he taught us if you set an intention and then pay attention, that will create coincidence. Now, his definition of coincidence is a mathematical geometric one. Two lines meeting at the same point perfectly. I would argue that Kevin and I both had dreams and we met for a reason. I know that's true with Emilia and I as well. Okay? So if you're setting intentions and then paying attention, what a coincidence. You'll manifest your dreams. All of you had at one point, I remember Kevin showed me Subaru Legacies.
Yeah.
At one point. I was looking at Hondas and I was looking at Toyotas, I think. And he pulled up a Subaru Legacy and I was like, I kind of like that. That's nice. And I have a Subaru Legacy now. Now, I don't really care about cars. I just wanted something practical and safe. Okay, that's manifestation. He showed me a good idea, and then I set an intention to buy a Subaru Legacy, and then I found someone who was selling one, and then I went to meet him. You can do that with anything. Maybe it won't happen this week, but it will happen. I've watched so many people elevate in this community. It's ridiculous. It's so cool. And if you're not setting intentions, you're going to be run by fear, not desire. Because if you don't desire something up here, you're most likely going to be stuck in fears down here. And the only way you're going to overcome those fears, like Amy wanting to meet Kevin and I, She was willing to go to the mall and talk to strangers. She had a desire. She wanted to be friends with us or whatever it was. I'm not sure. But the point is desire trumps fear when you set intentions and then pay attention.
Anybody by a show of hands been seeing 11:11 a lot on the clock lately? I've been seeing it like literally every day. That's a thing. Like for me, it means I'm getting closer to the universe and my alignment is getting better. But like Alan and I during this pandemic, right at the beginning when this all happened and we couldn't be in person anymore and it was like this weird thing of like, what is going on? We said, you know what? We're going to come out better. Okay? It's not a coincidence. I mean, it is, but we attracted the fact that like the day we said, hey, are you ready to do a studio? We found this place that day. We did a virtual tour the next day, and now this is our spot. Like that's not a coincidence. We set an intention and we paid attention to it. And this is what I always tell my clients when it comes to sales. Okay, simple. Every day when you wake up, set an intention to talk to somebody today. Watch how it happens, and then watch how you get more clients. And it's like that with anything. Set attention, pay attention to it. Coincidence happens, and there are no coincidences.
And make sure your intentions are desire-based, not fear-based. Okay? If you're out there right now and you're lonely, you might be running with fear of like, well, I want to go talk to that person because I don't want to be lonely. That's very different than I want to go talk to that person because they inspire me. See the difference? When I was single after my last relationship, I had to be very careful about not wanting to be lonely. I needed to find a way to meet my needs in a sustainable, healthy way that was not going to put me in rooms out of scarcity. Okay? And because I was willing to hold out on some very attractive opportunities, I was able to find the woman of my dreams that I truly desired. So that's another thing too. When you set intentions that are big, you're not going to settle for anything less along the way, which is actually going to be the biggest win long term.
Amy.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Oh, wow. What an ending. Okay. Tiff, do you want to go first?
Yeah, that's fine. I did not expect that abrupt ending.
Yeah, same. You really caught me off guard.
We got the timer down. It is wild what we have going. There's so many screens and there's cameras, but the timer.
One day I'm going to come see.
You are. You're invited.
Thanks. All right. Sorry. Anyway, go ahead, Tiff.
Get away.
Well, thank you guys all for coming. As you know, most of you are probably already in HyperConsciousnation, but we would love to have you guys join to connect with us further. And you can just go to the HyperConsciousPodcast.com, and it's at the very top. It just says join #HyperConsciousNation. And then Kevin and Alan are doing free 30-minute calls, but a little bit longer. So if you guys are looking to start or grow your podcast, or you need help scaling your business, you can go to HyperConsciousPodcast.com, and it's all right there. Also, I am doing free 30-minute calls. I built the HyperConscious website, and I am taking on a few extra clients right now. So if you guys would need help with your website, you can DM me on Instagram, Tiffany_Wells, and we can have a chat.
Fire.
So for everyone who doesn't already know, I mean, most of you guys were in the pre-mastermind mastermind, but we open the room at 5:30 so we can all just kind of chat, get to know each other if you're new, or just catch up. And then next week we are having a guest. I'm going to butcher his last name, but his first name is Prepo.
Prepo Teplitsky.
Thank you. What is he talking about?
Relationships.
Prepo Teplitsky is a relationship expert, and we had him on a couple months ago, and it was unreasonable. Like, he is an amazing guy with so much knowledge, and his energy. That is the one thing I guarantee. When he starts talking, you're going to feel an energetic connection, and it's going to be far easier to learn from him.
Such a soothing voice, and he's been in the arena of relationships for almost 20 years. So he has a lot of data in terms of what couples go through, and again, humility. Like, we got to learn from him.
Fire. Right on.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you. We do not have fans. We have family, and it is a pleasure to be family with you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, let us know, and reach out on Instagram, Facebook, any of those. Thank you.